Somewhere right now, someone in their 50s is looking at their retirement account and doing math that doesn't work. Not because they overspent. Not because they didn't save. Because the entire retirement system was rebuilt around them, twice, while they were too busy working to notice. By the end of this video you'll know the 3 exact stages that did this, in order, and stage 3 isn't history. It's happening in 2026, right now, and it's the one closing the fastest. The generation I'm talking about is Gen X, anyone born between 1965 and 1980. They're the first generation to reach retirement age almost entirely on their own, and the numbers show it. Financial firms estimate you need roughly $1.46 million saved to retire comfortably today. Fewer than 3 in 10 Gen Zers have saved even 6 times their salary by age 50, the benchmark that's supposed to put you on track. Fewer than 2 in 10 have hit 8 times their salary by 60. And here's the part that should stop you. Half of Gen X says they genuinely expect to outlive their own savings. That's not pessimism. That's a generation doing the math and getting a bad answer. Stage 1, the pension bait and switch. Here's stage 1, and it starts before most of Gen X even had a job. In 1980, over 90% of retirement money in America went into employer-run plans, and most of that was old-school pensions. You worked, the company managed the investing, and when you retired, a check showed up every month for life. No guesswork required. Then in 1978, Congress quietly added a small provision to the tax code, Section 401k, originally designed as a tax break for executives. Companies realized they could hand that same tool to regular employees instead of paying for a pension. Cheaper for the company. Way riskier for the worker. Fast forward to today, fewer than 15% of private sector workers have access to a real pension anymore. Everyone else got handed a 401k and a login to a brokerage account, and told to figure it out. Gen X was the first generation that grew up assuming a pension, and retired into a system that had already quietly replaced it. Stage 2 is timing, and this is the part that isn't a policy failure, it's just brutal luck stacked on top of a bad hand. The years when Gen X was supposed to be building serious momentum in their investments, their 30s and early 40s, when compounding does the heavy lifting, were the exact years the dot-com crash and then the 2008 financial crisis hit. Twice, right in the accumulation window, the market erased years of progress. On top of that, wages didn't keep pace with housing, healthcare, or college costs the way they did for their parents. And a huge share of Gen X got sandwiched, paying down their own debt, helping their kids with college, and helping aging parents at the same time. 1 in 4 Gen Zers now carries an active loan against their own 401k, the highest rate of any generation, because their retirement account became the only emergency fund they had. And now, stage 3, the one happening as you watch this. In June 2026, the Social Security Trustees released their annual report, and the main trust fund that pays retirement benefits is now projected to run out of money in late 2032. Not Social Security disappears, but starting that year, the program can only pay about 78% of scheduled benefits unless Congress acts. That's an automatic cut of roughly 22%, or about $500 a month for the average retiree, gone. Do the math on the timeline, most of Gen X won't even file for benefits until after 2032. Which means a huge share of this generation may never receive a single full, uncut Social Security check in their entire retirement. They'll retire directly into the reduced version, after already losing their pensions, after getting hit twice by market crashes, at the exact moment they're supposed to finally cash in. Here's why I keep saying this isn't their fault. Pick any one of these 3 stages on its own, and sure, maybe you could save your way out of it with better habits. But all 3 landed on one generation's working years, back to back to back, and none of them were decisions Gen X got to make. They didn't vote to replace pensions with 401(k)s in 1978, most of them weren't born yet. They didn't cause the crashes of 2000 or 2008. And they definitely didn't set Social Security's finances on the current path. This is what happens when you take a system that was built and tested around guaranteed pensions and Social Security paying full benefits, and quietly swap out both legs of that stool while people are standing on it. Personal responsibility matters. But no amount of skipping lattes offsets 3 structural shifts happening at once. So if you're in this generation, or watching your parents live through it, what can actually move the needle? 3 things, realistically. First, catch-up contributions. In 2026, workers 50 and up can add an extra $8,000 to a 401k beyond the normal limit, and if you're 60 to 63 there's a super catch-up that lets you add even more. Second, every year you delay claiming Social Security past your full retirement age adds roughly 8% to your monthly check, up until age 70, that's one of the only guaranteed returns left in the entire financial system. Third, working even 2 or 3 years longer doesn't just add savings, it shortens how many years that savings has to last, which quietly does more than most people realize. None of these fix the structural problem. But they're the actual levers that exist inside a broken system. So, 3 stages. The pension that quietly vanished. 2 crashes that hit at the worst possible moment. And a Social Security cut arriving right on schedule for retirement. None of it was bad luck in isolation. It was the same generation, standing in the way of 3 separate systems failing at once. If you want to know exactly how much you'd need saved by your age to actually retire on time in this environment, that's the next video. I break down the real numbers, not the scary headline ones. Subscribe so you don't miss it.